Welcome back to Golden Shadow. Today's topic: how the Iran-Israel conflict could shock global markets. It began with one missile, then 10, then 100. In the spring of 2025, tensions between Iran and Israel finally broke through the surface. What was once a cold, calculated shadow war turned into an open confrontation, one that now threatens to ignite a regional inferno. Oil markets are in turmoil. Global supply chains are on edge. Investors are bracing for the unthinkable. This isn't just another Middle Eastern conflict. This could be the trigger for a global economic breakdown. Relationship between Iran and Israel. Today, Iran and Israel are locked in a bitter standoff. But this wasn't always the case. In the early decades after World War II, Iran was one of the few Muslim-majority nations that recognized the newly established State of Israel. Under the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran maintained quiet but strategic ties with Tel Aviv. Israel helped Iran build infrastructure, intelligence networks, and even agricultural systems. Both countries feared Arab nationalism, and both were aligned with the United States during the Cold War. In the shadows of the Middle East, they were secret partners. Everything changed in 1979. The Iranian Revolution overthrew the Shah and replaced him with Ayatollah Khomeini, who declared the new Islamic Republic would oppose the Great Satan, America, and the Little Satan, Israel. Overnight, Israel went from secret ally to sworn enemy. Iran cut all diplomatic ties, and Khomeini began supporting anti-Israel movements, particularly Hezbollah in Lebanon, and later Hamas in Gaza. A new era had begun, one defined by ideology, religion, and proxy warfare. In the 1980s, Iran began exporting its revolution. In Lebanon, it supported the rise of Hezbollah, a Shiite militia born during Israel's invasion of Beirut in 1982. Hezbollah quickly became Iran's most powerful weapon against Israel, responsible for kidnappings, rocket attacks, and the deadly 1983 bombing of the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut. Throughout the 1990s, Israel accused Iran of sponsoring terror attacks, including the 1992 bombing of the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires and the 1994 AMIA Jewish Center bombing, killing hundreds. Meanwhile, Iran's nuclear ambitions quietly grew, and so did Israeli fears. As Iran enriched uranium, Israel sounded the alarm. In 2002, a secret Iranian nuclear facility in Natanz was revealed by dissidents. The world began to pay attention. In the years that followed, a shadow war escalated. Iranian scientists began dying under mysterious circumstances. Israel was widely suspected. At the same time, cyber warfare emerged. In 2010, the Stuxnet virus, allegedly created by Israeli and US intelligence, crippled Iran's centrifuges. Iran retaliated with cyber attacks against Israeli infrastructure and US banks. The battlefield had expanded to the internet, to assassinations, and to the nuclear underground. By 2015, it had built a network of allies from Tehran to Beirut, often called the Shia Crescent. Syria's civil war brought Iran's forces and Hezbollah fighters to Israel's northern border. Israel responded with hundreds of airstrikes, targeting Iranian arms shipments and bases in Syria. In 2015, the Iran nuclear deal, JCPOA, was signed. Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, fiercely opposed it, calling it a historic mistake. When President Trump pulled the US out in 2018, tensions surged again. In 2020, Israel was suspected in the assassination of Iran's top nuclear scientist, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, killed in a high-tech ambush near Tehran. Iran vowed revenge, but continued its nuclear work. By 2022, uranium enrichment reached 60%, close to weapons grade. At the same time, Iran began arming Russia with drones for the Ukraine war, while continuing to support proxies in Yemen, Iraq, and Lebanon. Israel's policy remained clear. It would not allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon, even if it meant war. In early 2025, things exploded. After a series of covert clashes, from drone shoot-downs to cyber strikes, Israel launched a major attack on Iranian nuclear facilities. Iran responded by launching direct missile strikes on Israeli territory for the first time. Hezbollah joined in. Hamas launched rockets. The US and regional powers were pulled into a crisis that had been decades in the making. What was once a hidden war had gone public and possibly global. Iran and Israel are not just enemies. They are two regional powers locked in a zero-sum rivalry, ideological, military, and existential. Iran sees Israel as illegitimate and dangerous. Israel sees Iran as the greatest threat to its survival. The past few years have seen escalating assassinations, cyber attacks, and drone strikes. But 2025 changed everything. After a suspected Israeli strike killed an Iranian general in Damascus, Tehran responded not with proxies, but with missiles of its own. For the first time in modern history, Iran launched direct ballistic attacks on Israeli territory. Israel struck back, targeting deep inside Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Neither side is backing down. This is not a proxy war anymore. It's a direct path to disaster. What if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz? What if Israel were hit by an unblocked missile or a nuclear weapon? What if more parties were involved in this war? These are no longer hypotheticals. Israel's oil infrastructure might be targeted. Analysts warn that if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked for more than 10 days, we could see $180 oil. In 2025, oil above $150 could devastate fragile economies in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, where food and fuel imports dominate spending. Energy inflation bleeds into every sector: transport, food, manufacturing. And this time, central banks can't help. Stimulus is politically toxic. The strike in the United States might get worse. On June 13th, the S&P 500 plunged 1.1% to close at 5,976.97. The Dow Jones tumbled 769 points, and the Nasdaq dropped 255 points, or 1.3%. And gold? Spot prices surged to an unprecedented $3,430 per ounce, the highest in history, signaling maximum institutional fear. Defense contractors are soaring, but civilian sectors are crumbling. Hedge funds are shorting airlines, shipping, and consumer cyclicals, betting that this is just the beginning of a systemic collapse. This isn't just Iran and Israel. Taiwan, Ukraine, the South China Sea all become risk multipliers. We are now in a multi-theater, multi-crisis global environment. Economists call it polycrisis. Watch these signals closely. Brent crude above $140. Global recession is near. US Treasury yields crashing. Panic. Gold above $3,400. Institutional panic. When all signals flash red, the message is simple. The world is one misstep away from uncontrolled escalation. A full-scale Iran-Israel war isn't just about ideology. It's about oil, markets, and the fragile systems that keep the global economy alive. This time the danger is not over there. It's everywhere. This is Golden Shadow, where every boom has a shadow and every crisis has a signal. Stay sharp, stay curious, because what you don't see is what moves the world.